It's time to set up the timing. So we got our mark on the top over here. This one we didn't lock the cams with a piece of paper and stuff, so what you're going to do, just crescent wrench. There's a spot right there on the cam. I'm going to just take one and turn it. And we're on. So it's as simple as that. Our cams are pointing the correct way. So now we just gotta go down below. So our timing marks are, it's our timing marks on top. And let's see if we can get in there. That's our timing marks there. So everything's right on. So now we can get some goo on the timing cover and get that thing on. Attempting to put the timing cover on. We got all the sealant on there. Now, trick is not to touch anything with it. Let's see. Here. Okay. Get those snugged. Those are snug. Start getting those snug down. Now we get the oil filter housing. Continue slugging these up. It looks like our 14mm ones are 38 foot-pounds. Alright, so our first one on. Fit. So basically there's four 14s are getting torqued first. Okay. And number 5 is going to be a 12. And the top 2 bolts are getting Loctite on them. Alright, so the 12mm ones are getting 19 foot-pounds. Tell you, this thing's come in handy. One of those little Harbor Freight jobbies. Alright, 19 foot-pounds, number 5. Alright, 5. Number 6. Okay. Okay, 10mm up here. I'll do that one by hand. Alright, so now it's time to put the motor mount. So we got the top one here. So these are all 38. It's 19. Next one here is 20. And the bottom one's 21. Put our torque back down to 19. Alright, so the next 4 are the oil housing ones. Alright, that should be all of them. So I'm just going to go back through and double check all of them, and yeah, we'll go from there. So all of our bolts are torqued down on our timing cover. So next I'll go ahead and put the pulley on the front. Double check that their timing marks are on 0. And yeah, and we'll go from there. So our pulley's on the bottom. Now to release the cam chain tensioner, you're going to take and you're going to turn the crank counterclockwise just a little bit. And then you go forward with it, and it should ratchet out. Get this thing to go on too. Yeah, you can hear it. That's pushing. Chain's getting tighter. I like it. Okay, I'm not going to turn it too much with all this stuff in the middle, but anyways, you can hear that ratcheting out. Alright, so all the timing, double checked all the timing marks. The pulley's marks still on the 0. The marks on the chain's all good, so alright. So what's next? I guess we're gonna call it for the night, and yeah, tomorrow we can get the water pump back on, get the motor mount back on. We can get the EGR system. Still got to clean a little more of that. Got to clean the intake manifold, and yeah, we'll go from there. So stay tuned. Let's go ahead and get this water pump on. Alright. That's going to go hard with the camera there, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can move this a little bit. Alright, so we put our new PCV valve in. We hooked up our fuel line. And now we're working on the motor mount. We're going to get the motor mount in next. So. I'm just going to snug these a little bit and we'll torque them. And then go double check the torque specs on that. I'll be right back. The ones going to the body, those get torqued to 70 foot-pounds. The other two going up here get torqued to 87. Try that. Okay, alright, so now we'll get our stud in there. Alright, so on the studs, I believe it's an 8mm socket, and just snug it. Don't tighten it up very much. That's it. So we'll have to raise the engine up just a little bit. So we'll get the jack under the motor and get that set. These are on and snugged up. So now it's time to torque these to 87. Go. Now I just got to get the 14mm nut underneath there. See if I can do this without moving the camera. Probably not. Let's see. Alright, so we got our deep 14. See if we can get this up in there. Alright, we got it started on there, so that's good. This is good. Get a little bracket in here that holds all this stuff here. I swear I got more time picking these things up off the floor. Jesus. Now I've got one last bolt back here. Alright, what's next? EGR cooler? Well, we gotta put some hoses back on the right side there, put our bolt into our electrical connector. Alright, so we got our electrical here. slide that on here. Let that kind of free float on there, then we'll stick it back on. That one's on. Now I'll get one on the S pipe. That one's there. Now we gotta get the 2 bolts in the S pipe. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it here. There's no way I'm gonna be able to show you that. Alright, so the EGR is in. All the hoses are connected back up. Yeah, the EGR, it's a pain in the butt. I had to call in my secret weapon. That's my wife. Her tiny little hands to get in there. Start that nut on the bottom. The one everybody dreads. Yeah, big hands. It isn't fun. But yeah, so anyways, it's all on there. So next I guess I can go ahead and get the valve cover stuff on there. I still got to clean up the intake and the throttle body. So we'll get all that going. Actually, I'll probably go ahead and clean the throttle body and the intake now. Take a break and we'll get back to it. So we're gonna rotate this engine, turn the crankshaft. I'm gonna put a little bit of oil on all these cams and stuff before I start turning anything. So I'm just going to turn it over by hand and just make sure I always double check, even though I know the timing's right. Just double check, triple check, right? Nothing hitting valves, that's good. Seems to be good. You probably got to go around probably at least 4 times or more before you're going to see your the painted things on the chain line up. So now it's lining up again. No, no, they're not. So it's probably another revolution or so. Anyways. Everything's good. Now I can put the spark plugs and all that stuff back in without worry about all that. We'll get the intake put on. And yeah, we'll get this baby started up today. Replace this O-ring here. And there's one that goes right here. It came off with the valve cover, but you can see it. It's that one. Definitely important to change both of these. Got Alright, so we got our spark plug tube seals in. Those weren't too bad. Just got to bend these little tabs up, take them out from the other side out this way, and push those in there. Alright, gasket for this. Alright, so you're going to see these little triangle things. Well, there's triangle thing, these little points right here, these little triangles line up with those. So there's actually 3 of them. Let me make sure I get the right one. So with these little triangles, right here is where the timing cover meets the cam housing, and this is where you're going to put a little bit of like some ultra gray on these points right here. So I think it gives it a little more surface to seal, so you don't have any more leaks. Yeah, these factory Toyota seals for the spark plug tubes, they went in like super easy. On the white Prius, I used the Felpro ones. Those did not go in easy at all. I will not use those again. I'll make sure I keep buying the factory Toyota ones. These is barely, you can almost push them in by hand. The ones on the Felpro, I really had beat the crap out of it to get it in. I should have probably just stopped and got the Toyota ones, but everything was closed. Alright, so we're going to get a little ultra gray on here. You'll probably see on your, if you haven't had the valve cover off before, you'll see a little bit of stuff oozed out right there on your factory one too. Don't be afraid to get some on there. Alright, so our gaskets are in. Everything's out of the way. Alright, stuff oozing. This is our 10mm with got the new gasket on there. Alright, so we'll get all these bolts started. Let's get these just snug down just a little bit. Right. I want to say the torque spec on these are they're 7 foot-pounds, but I'm not 100% on that. But I'll start them at 7. Yeah, my inch-pound torque wrench it's not a ratcheting one, so I'll just kind of make sure all these are kind of snug. Let's keep working these down till they're snug. Okay, so I'm going to go double check the torque real quick. Alright, so we got the coolant reservoir back in. Put this ground wire on. Yeah, the two ground wires are going to go here. We'll put those on. Last part, so we get all the spark plugs and everything in. Our new Denso spark plugs. Looks good. I always like to start these by hand. Like new plugs and stuff, you don't have to put anti-seize or any of that stuff on the threads. They all come with like a nickel coating or something, so you don't have to put that on there anymore. Yeah, if you get them all the way in by hand, you don't have to worry about stripping anything out. Spark plugs they get torqued down to 15 foot-pounds. Alright, so now we've got our 14 millimeter deep well and get these things torqued down. I always do them a few times because you got that crush washer on them, so they'll squish down just a little bit. Okay, those are good. Alright, we got our spark plug coils. Alright, we'll get our 10 millimeters and screw those down. Yeah, these things you just gotta do, just snug them. Doesn't have to be very tight at all. That's good enough. So we got new EGR gasket, new intake gasket, and we put a new gasket on the throttle body. Cleaned all that out. Got that nice and pretty. And so we keep this thing loose, the EGR pipe. Makes it easier getting it in. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our PCV valve hooked on there. That's on there. I was going to put the catch can on here, and I decided I'm going to wait a little bit, drive it, make sure everything's good. I can always pull the stuff back off. It doesn't take that long. So, we got 3 bolts and 2 nuts. And these are getting torqued to 21 foot-pounds. Get this snug down. One more time. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. That is good. Get our 10mm bolts into our EGR pipe. Okay, we do the ones on the going into the EGR. And this one's going to the coolant line on top of the throttle body. This one's going to go this to the head there. It's on. Alright, that's on. Alright, so our back sensor wires in. This vacuum switching valve. That can go on there. Alright, this vacuum line can go on here. That thing's like split. That's not good. Might end up having to get a new one of those. Yeah, I'll temporarily tape it up. Order a new one. So this is the little piece that was missing off here when I got it. But I still had the old wiring harness from when I swapped the motor out on the V. So I kept that part of the wiring harness was on there, and luckily this thing was on there. So that's a good thing. Put that on there. Doesn't do much. It holds some of the wiring harness. Time to get the electrical on. The fuel injectors. We got our throttle body. Our knock sensor. Our AC compressor. And we got our water pump here. Okay. Alright, these are our two grounds that are going to go here. I better get this in there. This goes in here. Let's see if I can reach over this thing. And take a clip off on the thing, so let's like that. EGR, we've got our coils, down here, got our cam position sensor, actually that's the I forget what that is. Okay. Now we got our three that go down below. So we've got our oil pressure switch, our O2 sensor, and the crank position sensor. Okay, so I have to go under the car to do that. Let's see. Everything's snapped up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, get our grounds. That goes on here. Got this little connector here. I think that's actually the cam position sensor. I think that's our oil control valve or something like that for the variable timing gear. Okay. Alright. Oh, we got this one. That goes to our MAF sensor onto our air box. Alright, I believe I got all those. Alright, time to fill up the coolant with my new favorite tool. Yeah, this thing makes bleeding the air out really quick. So, the great vacuum. So we've got creative vacuum. You can't see it, but like all the coolant hoses are all the air's out of them. So I've already purged the air out of this line, got some fluid in there. So all you gotta do is turn this. And it starts filling it up. And if you probably can't see this in there, see the fluid going down. Usually when the gauge gets to around 0, it's pretty full. Alright. Yeah, that didn't take as much as I thought. Must have still been a little bit in the radiator. Anyways, that is full. It'll probably burp a little bit, but not too much. Ooh, that was almost a mess. There actually was a little more air in that line. Maybe get just a little more. That's right up to the full mark. So we can always add a little more later. Alright, time for the air box to go on. Let's see, let's take this in. Okay. So we've got one on the bottom, one there, one here, here, and one screws into the organizer. Alright. Okay, that's in. We got the little rubber hose we snap into these little things. Alright. Now we'll get the air filter. Even though the filter I pulled out was looked pretty brand new. I'm putting I put the factory total one in. Alright, hook up the MAF sensor. And then I can get to working on finding a new air box. Okay. Alright, good. Well, looks like we're ready to start this baby. Alright, I guess I'll go clean up before I get in the car so I don't get grease all over it, and yeah, I'll come back out and get it going. Alright guys, here goes nothing. Let's see if this baby starts up. We'll hear all the clatter until all the lifters get oil and all that crap, and yeah, we'll see if we did good or if we get to do it again. And I gotta get some fuel up to the injectors. Alright, see what happens. Oh, if you open the garage. Well, didn't sound too bad to me. Sound like a Prius motor. So, yeah, we gotta burn all the oil and crap and everything else off from there, and we'll get it in maintenance mode, let it warm up to temperature, and check the coolant, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, well, it's been a few weeks now. And yeah, I've probably put probably just a little over 600 miles on it so far. Everything's running good. Checked the fuel mileage for the first time a couple days ago. So I got, what was it, 49.4 miles to the gallon. calculated at the pump. But yeah, things are running good though. We'll start it up, let you hear it. Yeah, running nice and smooth. There's the motor. Things still looking nice and clean, no leaks. Coolant staying where it should. So one thing I haven't checked, well, I checked after about 100 miles, but I'm gonna check the oil level real quick and see how it is after 600 miles, since we don't know the motor well. Hopefully it's not using any oil. So, yeah, see if it focuses. Anyways, it's still at the full mark, so that's a good thing. Alright guys, that's a wrap. It's a done deal, and yeah, we'll see how this one does. Yeah, so shortly after I got this one running, I sold my white Prius. And yeah, we'll look for another one. We'll do it all again. We had so much fun. Alright guys, take care.